Hello and welcome. Today's episode follows on from the last video in this mini-series. It examines Helene Blavatsky's book, The Secret Doctrine, as a revolutionary vision that changed the world. In the heart of the British Empire, as the Industrial Revolution reached its zenith and scientific materialism dominated intellectual discourse, this one woman dared to challenge everything the Victorian world believed about reality itself. Her name was Helene Petrovna Blavatsky, and in 1888 she unleashed upon the world a work so audacious, so comprehensive, and so controversial that it will forever alter humanity's understanding of its place in the cosmos. Following on from Isis Unveiled, Helene Blavatsky subsequently published The Secret Doctrine, a synthesis of science, religion, and philosophy. She wasn't merely writing another book. She was attempting nothing less than a complete reimagining of human knowledge. This monumental two-volume work, with its provocative subtitles Cosmogenesis and Anthropogenesis, emerged from years of intensive study, mystical experiences, and what Blavatsky claimed were direct communications with ancient masters of wisdom. The work represented an unprecedented synthesis, a bold attempt to weave together the scattered threads of human spiritual knowledge into a single coherent tapestry. Blavatsky drew from sources as diverse as Hindu Vedas, Buddhist sutras, Kabbalistic texts, Hermetic traditions, and cutting-edge scientific discoveries of her era. But at the heart of her synthesis lay something even more extraordinary, the mysterious Book of Desire, which she claimed contained the most ancient wisdom known to humanity. According to Blavatsky, the Secret Doctrine was not her own creation, but rather a translation and commentary on this primordial text, a work so ancient that it predated all known religion and philosophies. She described receiving this knowledge through her connection with the Mahatmas, or Masters of Wisdom, highly evolved beings who had transcended ordinary human limitations and served as guardians of humanity's spiritual evolution. This wasn't merely academic scholarship, it was a revelation. Blavatsky claimed to be unveiling the ancient wisdom religion that had been preserved in secret for millennia, passed down through an unbroken chain of initiates who understood the true nature of reality. Her work suggested that all religions were merely fragments of this original universal truth, distorted echoes of a perfect understanding that once illuminated all of humanity. At the philosophical heart of the Secret Doctrine lie three revolutionary propositions that challenged every assumption of Victorian thought. First, the existence of an omnipresent, eternal, and unknowable principle, a boundless reality that transcends all human concepts of God, matter, or consciousness. This wasn't the personal deity of Christianity or the mechanical universe of materialist science, but something more profound and mysterious. Second, the law of periodicity, the idea that the entire cosmos operates in vast cycles of manifestation and dissolution, like a cosmic heartbeat that's been pulsing for eternity. Everything that exists, from the smallest atom to the greatest galaxy, participates in this eternal rhythm of birth, growth, decay, and rebirth. Third, the fundamental identity of all souls with the universal oversoul, the revolutionary concept that individual consciousness is not separate from the divine, but is actually a spark of the same cosmic fire, designed to evolve through countless lifetimes until it achieves perfect unity with its source. But perhaps the most shocking aspect of Blavatsky's work was her account of human evolution, a narrative that bore little resemblance to either biblical creation stories or Darwin's emerging theory of natural selection. According to the Secret Doctrine, humanity didn't evolve from apes, but descended from divine beings who gradually took on physical form over millions of years. She described the simultaneous emergence of 7 root races across different continents, each representing a different stage in humanity's spiritual and physical development. These weren't races in the modern sense, but rather evolutionary phases through which all humanity would eventually pass. The first humans, she claimed, were purely spiritual beings, astral entities without physical bodies. Only gradually, through successive incarnations, did they develop the dense material forms we know today. But this physical evolution was merely the outer expression of a far more important spiritual journey, the gradual awakening of consciousness itself. Even more provocatively, Blavatsky described lost civilizations of incredible advancement, particularly Atlantis, whose inhabitants had achieved a perfect balance between spiritual wisdom and material mastery. These civilizations, she claimed, had not fallen through external catastrophe, but through their misuse of their spiritual powers, serving as warnings for humanity's current evolutionary phase. Central to Blavatsky's narrative were the intelligences who actively guided human evolution from behind the scenes. These weren't distant gods, but compassionate beings who had once been human themselves and who now served as humanity's elder brothers, subtly influencing the course of history to ensure spiritual progress. This concept revolutionized traditional ideas about divine intervention. Rather than a single deity controlling human destiny, Blavatsky presented a vast hierarchy of evolved beings, each playing their part in the cosmic drama of consciousness awakening to itself. What made the Secret Doctrine truly revolutionary was its attempt to bridge the growing chasm between science and religion. While Victorian society was increasingly polarized between materialist science and traditional faith, Blavatsky proposed a third way, a synthesis that honored both empirical investigation and spiritual insight. She argued that true science must eventually acknowledge consciousness as a fundamental force in the universe, not merely an accident or byproduct of matter. Similarly, she insisted that authentic religion must embrace the evolutionary perspective, recognizing that spiritual truth unfolds progressively through time rather than being delivered through revelation. Her critique of materialistic science was both prescient and profound. She argued that by reducing everything to matter and mechanical forces, science was missing the most important aspect of reality, the consciousness that observes and understands. At the same time, she criticized religious dogmatism for clinging to literal interpretations of symbolic truths, thereby obscuring the universal wisdom that all traditions originally contained. The publication of the Secret Doctrine created an immediate sensation. Supporters hailed it as the most important spiritual work of the modern era, a staggering vision that finally provided a coherent framework for understanding humanity's place in the cosmos. They praised its encyclopedia scope, its profound philosophical insights, and its ability to find meaningful connections between seemingly disparate traditions. But critics were equally vocal and often vicious in their attacks. Academic scholars dismissed it as pseudoscience, pointing out factual errors and questioning Blavatsky's sources. Religious authorities condemned it as heretical, while materialist scientists ridiculed its mystical claims. Most damaging of all were accusations that Blavatsky had simply plagiarized from other sources, weaving together existing ideas without proper attribution. The controversy deepened when scholars began investigating the Book of Design itself. Despite extensive searches, no independent evidence for this ancient text could be found. Critics concluded that Blavatsky had invented it entirely, using it as a convenient fiction to lend authority to her own ideas. So, while the Book of Design, as Blavatsky described, might never have existed, her work does contain genuine insights drawn from authentic esoteric traditions. Perhaps more importantly, the question of literal authenticity may miss the deeper point. As one contemporary observer noted, the value of the Secret Doctrine lies not in its historical accuracy, but in its power to awaken consciousness to possibilities beyond the conventional worldview. The Secret Doctrine became the foundational text of the Theosophical Society, which Blavatsky had co-founded in 1875. This organisation, dedicated to the study of comparative religion, philosophy and science, attracted thousands of members worldwide and established lodges on every continent. The Society's three declared objects perfectly reflected the vision of the Secret Doctrine: to form a nucleus of universal brotherhood without distinction of race, creed, sex, caste or colour, to encourage the study of comparative religion, philosophy and science, and to investigate the unexplained laws of nature and the powers latent in humanity. Through the Theosophical Society, the ideas contained in the Secret Doctrine spread far and beyond their original audience, including artists, writers, scientists, and spiritual seekers across the globe. Nearly 140 years after its publication, the Secret Doctrine continues to exert consequential influence on human thought. Its core insights, the interconnectedness of all life, the cyclical nature of existence, the spiritual evolution of consciousness, and the need to synthesize scientific and spiritual knowledge, have become central themes in contemporary spirituality, ecology, and even cutting-edge science. The work profoundly influenced later esoteric thinkers like Alice Bailey, who claimed to continue Blavatsky's work through her own communications with the Masters. Helene Blavatsky, co-founder of the Agni Yoga movement, explicitly built upon theosophical foundations. Rudolf Steiner, founder of anthroposophy, began his spiritual career within the Theosophical Society before developing his own system. The Secret Doctrine's emphasis on evolution as a spiritual as well as biological process anticipated many developments in transpersonal psychology. Its vision of consciousness as a fundamental to reality resonates with interpretations of quantum mechanics that emphasize the role of the observer. Its ecological perspective, seeing all life as interconnected and sacred, prefigured the environmental movement by nearly a century. What makes the Secret Doctrine enduringly relevant is its engagement with perennial human questions. Who are we? Where did we come from? Where are we going? What is our purpose in the cosmos? While specific answers Blavatsky provided may be debated, the questions themselves remain as urgent today as they were in 1888. In an age where scientific materialism has revealed the vast scale and complexity of the universe, while simultaneously reducing human beings to mere accidents of chemistry, the Secret Doctrine offers an alternative vision, one in which consciousness is not an epiphenomenon, but the very ground of being, and human life. It's not meaningless, but represents the universe's attempt to understand itself. Perhaps the most remarkable aspect of the Secret Doctrine is not its specific claims, but its transformative power. As one modern reader observed, like anything worthy, it operates subconsciously, where later reflections and imagining scenarios develop profound connections to illogical notions. The answer is not about finding answers, it's about gradually accessing higher planes of spiritual awareness until you finally break through. This points to something crucial about Blavatsky's work. It was never intended to merely convey information, but to catalyze transformation. The Secret Doctrine doesn't just describe spiritual evolution, it aims to accelerate it. It challenges readers to expand their consciousness, to think beyond conventional categories, and to recognize their own divine potential. Today, the Secret Doctrine stands as more than a historical curiosity or even a spiritual classic. It remains a living document, a work that continues to inspire, challenge, and provoke new generations of seekers. Whether approached as a literal truth, symbolic mythology, or philosophical speculation, it offers something increasingly rare in our fragmented world: a comprehensive vision of human existence that encompasses both scientific understanding and spiritual meaning. In our current era of global crisis and transformation, when humanity faces challenges that require both scientific knowledge and spiritual wisdom, Blavatsky's call for synthesis feels more relevant than ever. The Secret Doctrine reminds us that the ancient dream of unifying all human knowledge, of finding the common thread that connects science and spirituality, East and West, ancient wisdom and modern insight, is not only possible, but essential for our continued evolution. Helene Blavatsky's monumental work continues to serve both as a map and a compass for those who refuse to accept that human existence is merely a brief flicker of consciousness in an indifferent universe. For such seekers, the Secret Doctrine remains what it's always been, an invitation to explore the deepest mysteries of existence and to discover the divine spark that burns within every human heart. The Secret Doctrine is a remarkable work that continues to inspire debate and exploration among seekers of wisdom worldwide. Thank you for watching.